Have you ever wondered why some people who earn six figures still live paycheck to paycheck, while others with modest incomes somehow build real wealth? The answer might shock you. It's not about math, spreadsheets, or secret investment strategies. It's about psychology. Today, we're diving deep into 7 powerful money lessons that most people never learn. But once you understand them, they'll completely transform how you think about and handle your finances. Let's start with something that might make you uncomfortable. Your financial decisions aren't as logical as you think they are. Every choice you make with money is filtered through decades of experiences, emotions, and stories you've collected throughout your life. This brings us to our first lesson. Your financial behavior is shaped by your personal history in ways you probably don't even realize. Think about it. If you watched your parents struggle during a recession, you might still feel anxious about investing in stocks, even when all the data suggests it's the right move. On the flip side, if you witnessed someone make a fortune from a risky bet, you might be drawn to similar gambles, even when the odds are stacked against you. Here's what you need to do. Take a moment and write down one sentence about your money story. Something like, "I tend to hoard cash because I learned that security matters most," or "I take big risks because I saw my uncle get rich from real estate." Once you identify your money story, you can design systems around it. If you're naturally risk-averse, automate your investments so emotions don't derail your plan. If you're naturally a risk-taker, set strict limits and stick to boring index funds for most of your portfolio. The second lesson is equally important. Stop copying other people's financial strategies. This is where so many people go wrong. You see a day trader posting massive gains on social media, so you think you should day trade. You hear about someone flipping houses, so you think real estate is the answer. But here's the thing. You're not living their life, facing their timeline, or playing their game. Before you make any financial move, define your own game in one short paragraph. What are your goals? What's your timeline? How much risk can you actually handle? For example, if you need $20,000 for a house down payment in 12 months, that money belongs in a high-yield savings account, not cryptocurrency. If you're saving for retirement 30 years from now, that money belongs in low-cost index funds, not sitting in cash earning nothing. Our third lesson addresses one of the biggest wealth killers, the inability to define enough. Without a clear target, you'll find yourself constantly moving the goalposts. You start with a reasonable goal, then see someone else's success story, and suddenly your target doubles. This is how people with plenty of money still make reckless bets, not for security, but for status. Make your definition of enough concrete and personal. Maybe it's $50,000 in your emergency fund, or generating $3,000 monthly from investments, or being able to work 4 days a week instead of 5. Write it down and treat it as a real finish line, not a mirage that keeps moving away every time you get close. Now let's talk about the fourth lesson, respecting the power of compounding. This is probably the most underrated force in building wealth, and most people quit right before it starts working its magic. Compounding feels slow at first. You invest $500 and it grows to $530. Big deal, right? But here's what most people miss. The curve is sneaky. It starts slow, stays slow, then suddenly becomes meaningful. The key isn't finding the perfect investment or timing the market. It's consistency. Set up automatic investments every payday and let time do the heavy lifting. When Warren Buffett was asked about his wealth-building strategy, he said most of his net worth came after age 50, not because he got smarter, but because he stayed in the game long enough for compounding to accelerate. The fifth lesson hits close to home for many people, choosing substance over status. Here's a harsh truth. When you see someone driving a luxury car, you don't admire the driver, you admire the car. Status spending promises respect and admiration, but it usually just buys temporary attention while quietly destroying your financial foundation. Instead of asking, "What will people think?" start asking, "Will this purchase give me more freedom, peace of mind, or time?" A reliable used car that lowers your monthly payment does more for your actual life than a lease payment that impresses strangers at traffic lights. Track the metrics that actually matter: your savings rate, months of expenses in cash, and your growing net worth. These numbers don't care who's watching, but they determine your real financial security. Our sixth lesson is about planning for the inevitable: surprises. Life throws curveballs constantly: job losses, medical bills, car repairs, unexpected expenses. The mistake most people make is planning as if everything will go smoothly forever. You don't win by predicting the future perfectly. You win by building enough margin to survive when things go wrong. Keep 3 to 6 months of expenses in cash if you have stable employment, or 6 to 12 months if your income varies. Any money you'll need within 3 years should be in savings or short-term investments, not the stock market. Keep your fixed expenses reasonable. A good rule is 50% of your take-home pay. This slack isn't laziness. It's what allows you to stay invested long enough for your plan to work. Finally, our seventh lesson: action beats information. Most people already know what they should do financially. Save more than you spend, avoid high-interest debt, invest regularly in diversified funds. The problem isn't knowledge, it's execution. The gap between knowing and doing comes down to behavior, not intelligence. Turn your intentions into automatic systems. Set up transfers on payday that move money to your emergency fund and investments before you can spend it. Use a 24-hour rule for non-essential purchases. Run a 15-minute weekly check-in to track your progress and make small adjustments, not major overhauls. The beauty of these lessons is their simplicity. They're not about complex strategies or perfect timing. They're about understanding yourself, defining your goals, and building systems that work even when emotions run high. Small, consistent actions compound into life-changing results, but only if you actually implement them. Start with one lesson that resonated most with you. Set up one automatic investment this week, even if it's just $50. Write down your definition of enough. Identify your money story. The path to financial peace isn't about getting rich quick. It's about building sustainable habits that let you sleep well at night while your money grows steadily in the background. Remember, the best financial plan is the one you'll actually follow, and now you have the psychological foundation to make that happen.